What's up, hungry people? Today we're getting our eat on in Bali. A few weeks ago, my husband and I took a quick trip from Cleveland to Indonesia, where we ate crazy food in first class, explored the malls in Jakarta, then finally hopped on a plane to Bali for our honeymoon. We had postponed our honeymoon for 2 years thanks to the pandemic, so it was time to spend it in style. We spent the first part of our week in Bali in Ubud. If you want to check out the Ubud Monkey Forest, Teganungan Waterfall, and more, click that pop-up so you can join me for an awesome adventure in Ubud. After a few days in the hills of Bali, we decided to head to Uluwatu for some much-needed beach time. Our room wasn't quite ready at the resort we were staying at next, so we celebrated the second part of our trip with lychee bellinis by the sea, before chowing down on a dynamite roll packed with ebi fry, mango, and minced tuna. We have pretty good sushi in the States, but the sushi in Asia is next level delicious. For my hubby's main course, he had croquettes monsieur, which he thought was going to be a fancy sandwich until he realized that it was basically just fried ham and cheese. And he was perfectly okay with that. The baked sandwich was packed with ham and cheese and slathered with double cream and Dijon mustard. I had the catch of the day for my lunch, a whole baked snapper plucked fresh off the reef not even 10 hours ago. The deep fried fish was filled with pineapples and peppers, then smothered in a tangy sweet and sour sauce. This was hands down my favorite thing I ate on our entire trip. The fish was perfectly tender and practically melted in my mouth. Plus, the sauce was just the right balance of sweet and heat, and the view just so happened to be a bonus. After that, we made our way to the room and then had to make the hardest decision of the trip. Which pool do we lay by? With plenty of options to choose from, we posted up by the beachside pool and let the drinks flow. We spent the rest of the afternoon relaxing and being immature by the many pools at our resort. That night, the fun continued as we made our way down to the Bamboo Beach Bar and Lounge, where I sipped on their signature cocktail on the edge of the Indian Ocean. We decided to do a pizza night since Bali is known for its pizza, and we each chose our own wood-fired pizza to split. Our first pizza was the Tropicana pizza, which was topped with pineapples, ham and sausage, with jalapenos and mozzarella cheese. Then we had the Balinese pizza that was so insanely delicious and so insanely spicy that it put all other pizzas that claimed to have spicy toppings to shame. It was topped with chicken patutu, spicy sambal sauce, peppers, and sauteed onions. I'd literally still dream about this pizza to this day. For dessert, I had the creme brulee. Though it was a bit eggy for my taste, it was still a sweet way to wrap up a spicy dinner. The next morning, we were off bright and early to Nusa Penida. My entire life, I have wanted to swim with manta rays. So when I found out that we had the opportunity to do so in Bali, I instantly booked us a trip to Manta Point. We took a quick boat ride to the island and then took another smaller boat to the reef where the manta rays like to hang out. I honestly had pretty low expectations until I jumped into the water and within seconds came face to face with an 8-foot wide manta ray. When I was a kid, I used to tell people that I was going to grow up to become an underwater cinematographer, so this was honestly a complete dream come true. My inner child is beaming. the Rays, we went to another more shallow bay to snorkel on the colorful reef there, before our guides took us to a place called The Wall. The Wall was quite a cool experience, as when you're above the water, it looks like you're right up against the island and that you will be pounded into the wall by the waves. But when you dip beneath the surface, you realize the island is actually mushroom-shaped and hangs over the water. And to the other side of you is a wide, dark blue emptiness. Thalassophobics beware. This is not the excursion for you. But I absolutely loved it. Finally, our guides took us to one more shallow dive spot where the currents pull you over the reef before we headed back to the meeting point for a lunch break. After a morning of vigorous swimming, we were absolutely famished. They offered everything from fish curry and mee goreng to chicken satay and fried rice. And of course, fresh juice and sweet pisang goreng for dessert. After we ate, we took a quick kayak ride through the mangrove trees, which was a fun, albeit frustrating experience considering how tired we were from swimming, so we mostly didn't want to do any more strenuous activities. But it was still worth it in the end. Once we were done exploring the mangroves, we boarded a boat to take us back to Bali, where our guides dropped us off at our hotel. That night, we were too tired to do much exploring on land, so we ended up at the Hanoi by Mae Voi Vietnam restaurant right outside of our resort. We both ordered banh mi and split an order of spring rolls. The banh mi was stuffed in a toasted baguette and topped with mayo, sambal, pickles, and Balinese herbs. I think we both had the pork option, though honestly I was so tired from our excursion in the morning that I honestly cannot remember. My husband made sure to generously offer me his cucumber because he knows that I love them so much. The next morning we had a quick breakfast at the Riviera, and somehow I wasn't the person feeding the strays. My husband had the Riviera breakfast, which included everything from eggs and sausage to roasted potatoes, bacon, beans, and tomatoes. I went for the avocado toast myself. The eggs in Bali are so fresh, I couldn't resist a nicely poached egg for breakfast. After another difficult day of laying by the pool, we made our way to the beach for lunch. All of our sunbathing had worked up quite an appetite. Nick had the club sandwich, which is just a run-of-the-mill club sandwich, but he said it was still pretty good. I wanted to continue trying authentic Indonesian dishes, so I ordered the mee goreng, which is fried Indonesian noodles with fresh seafood and veggies, served with 2 different sides of sambal and shrimp crisps. Honestly, I couldn't imagine a better view than this while chowing down on mee goreng. We hung out in our comfy cabana for a while, sipping on more drinks and enjoying the breeze. That night for dinner, we decided to make our way to the center of town to try some Japanese food at the Akari restaurant. We split agi ravioli, which was basically crab rangoon, and harumaki, or spring rolls, which were both incredibly delicious. We both love sushi, especially when you can see the ocean from where you are eating it. Nick had the kani nigiri sushi with an assortment of nigiri and a crab stick roll. I had the unagi uluwatu roll that was stuffed with salmon and cream cheese and topped with eel and sweet sauce. Definitely a top 10 sushi experience in my book. The next morning, we were sort of in a rush because it was our last day, so we went to Baon for breakfast. I had a quick eggs benny that left much to be desired in the way of the hollandaise, but it was still pretty good. After that, we had to head to the airport to catch our flight back to Jakarta. We were both still pretty hungry at this point, so after we got settled in at the airport, we ate one more meal in Bali. I had a simple chicken curry platter, and Nick had one more platter of satay before we had to jump on a plane and start the long journey back to America. If you enjoyed traveling to Indonesia with me, hit that like button so I know what kind of content you want to see more of in the future. I'd love to start building food-specific travel into my life, so let me know where I should go and what I should taste test next. If you like this video, don't forget to flip that sub button and ring the dinner bell so you can be notified of my latest recipes and foodie adventures that I post almost weekly. And if you ever get hungry, head on over to thestarvingchefblog.com where you can find recipes with step-by-step instructions and much more. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon.